Good. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Gordon, the superintendent?
Nope.
Getting out of that one.
Trying to get out of that one.
There we go.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
Underneath my head.
The Madison County Board of Education work session for November 17th is called to order with our new board members. Thank you both for your service and congratulations to both of you. We welcome you tonight and hope to help you work through this first couple of weeks. Maybe.
Maybe.
I feel like you just got married to us, you did. So, let's begin.
We're going to start off with the discussion of some of the policy revisions. That's Mr. Key.
Yes, Mr. Massey. The revision that we're looking at doing is, there's a discrepancy between board policy and what the sick leave bank committee has stated in their guidelines. The state law and the Madison County Board of Education policy allows us to have sick leave bank committee that governs, and that they establish guidelines for the sick leave bank committee and catastrophic leave. They have a term in their guidelines that says consecutive, 10 consecutive days. Our board policy doesn't have to, it deletes the word consecutive, yet it is implied, and that's the way we've always ran things. But this would go ahead and clarify and would align the sick leave bank guidelines along with the Madison County board policy. So what we're asking is that we add the word consecutive in there, and this is a request from the sick leave bank committee. It has already gone to policy review, so they are aware of this already.
Yeah, I just had a question reading over this, not what we're talking about tonight, but is catastrophic leave now only for that person? It says illness is defined as any medical illness or injury or medical illness related to pregnancy or childbirth or verified by a licensed physician. Which incapacitates the employee to he or she should have to work for this working day. You know, that, we've always intended that, like if there was a child, or, so I'm just asking for clarification.
Yes, ma'am. The catastrophic leave bank is going to be run the same way. It does apply to a family member who is ill. It's still, the key wording here is that they have to be out for 20 consecutive days before they apply for
Right,
catastrophic
okay,
leave.
understand.
And that's going to be universal to all those areas. If they qualify, as long as they're out for 20 days, then they would go ahead and qualify under catastrophic. But yes, ma'am, it does include their families as well. And this is only one section of.
Well, that's what I said, that
totality
it
of
was
the
just
guidelines.
one. Thanks.
Anyone else? All right, and for discussion of the Hazel Green easement, Terry Wilson.
Yes, sir. We sold the wastewater treatment plant several years ago to Southwest Water at Hazel Green High School. They're better fit for maintaining, take care of it, and it saves us a lot of money. We need to add a 119 linear foot easement to it. We have a pump station that takes their sewage from the school up to the plant. They own several easements up there already. And matter of fact, there's some businesses up there that actually go on that treatment plant. But we need to do this, because you can clarify that we need our sewer lines to lead into us to the pump station. And so we need this 119 foot easement added into all the other easements they currently have, just make it function correctly. And they maintain everything, they take care of everything. It's a good deal for us. It just means now they have 119 more linear feet of sewer lines. Southwest is going to come back in about 6 months and probably make a request. And it's in their contract with them, they have the right to sell the plant. And they're looking at, that's the reason they want to clear this up. And they're looking at probably selling it to another company we currently use to sell other schools.
Any other questions about that? Thanks, Gary. And that's it for the work session.
All right, we'll now move into a regular session for the Madison County Board of Education for Thursday, November 17th, 2016. We'll begin by reorganizing the Madison County Board of Education. If anybody has a nomination for president, please make that now.
I nominate Angie Bates.
I second that.
Are there any further nominations? In that case, nominations are closed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And now for a nomination for vice president.
I nominate Mary Louise Stowe.
I second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Normally, we would change seats at this point. I wanted to offer to y'all, since both of you are new, would you, Ms. Rucker and Ms. Stowe, like to change so that at least each of you is sitting by someone with some experience? All right.
How many months now?
That's right.
I'm-
What do you-
I'm basically stealing
4
Mr.
months.
Curry's mentor, but I thought that might be helpful. Sometimes there's just some simple questions that we may need to answer quickly as far as the flow, and maybe for the first couple of months, we could move around a bit and try to be able to help you out through those first couple of weeks.
I'll get your.
That way we're also boy
I thought you were.
Hey, the women rule now, don't they?
That's right.
Oh, we have been, trust me. No. All right, at this point, we would also take a volunteer to be the board's finance representative for the next year. Ms. Rucker volunteers to have that role. We also need a volunteer for the teacher of the year as well as the support person of the year. So if anyone would like to volunteer for that, it is very rewarding as well as informative. You get to read many, many nominations and why they were nominated, and you find out a lot of good that is going on in the school system that you may not have been aware of if you haven't had the opportunity to read those. So.
I'll take that.
Would you like teacher or support person? You get to
Teacher.
pick because you said that.
I said first.
I'll do support.
Well, thank both of you gentlemen for that. And at this point, we can move on to the superintendent's recommendation.
All right. I'll recommend approval of the agenda for our November 17, 2016.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
I recommend approval of the minutes for October 20th, 2016.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Curry, a second from Ms. Stowe. Is there any discussion regarding the minutes? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone?
All right. Well, I'll start off by just kind of a few kind of informational or announcements. I want to welcome Troop Pack 8, Boy Scout Troop. Guys, if y'all want to wave to us there. And the troop is here to hang out with some elected officials pretty much. So you guys come back anytime and stay as long as you want. So we're glad to have you. So you guys are in the Monroe area. Where do you guys go to school?
Endeavor Elementary.
Endeavor?
Homeschool.
Homeschool?
Harvest Elementary.
Harvest?
All right.
Columbia Elementary.
Columbia. All right.
Okay.
Well, welcome, guys. We're glad to have you. Thank you. Also, wanted to just talk a little bit about, we had a board orientation on Monday where we kind of shared some things about ourselves and visions and goals, and also had each of the departments in our central office and our school system to kind of come and present. And we basically visited for about 5.5 hours, and there was a lot of information. But I wanted to thank each of you board members there for coming and devoting that amount of time. I know that was a chunk and a lot of homework and things that we left with you guys, but it was a great kickoff to that, so appreciate the effort you guys being there for that. And also next week, just kind of remind everybody, we're out a full week for Thanksgiving, so tomorrow will be the last day of school for this week, and we'll return back the week after Thanksgiving for that. So we did that kind of as a reminder. Last year was the first year doing that. We based that on our data and with attendance, and Scott would be proud of this, but Mondays and Tuesdays of Thanksgiving were our highest 2 missed days of the whole year. And so we basically kind of moved that a little bit to the front of the school. We started a little bit early, but what we did is eliminate 2 of our most missed days. We missed about a third of our school was out on those 2 days, so there wasn't a lot of instruction going on. So it was something that it looks like is kind of maybe a trend. Huntsville City is doing the same thing there, but that just wanted to make everybody clear that we'll be no school next week for that. The central office will be open Monday and Tuesday for that. Schools will be open, we'll have our administrators there, but no school for students. All right, we'll get to some actions here. I recommend approval of the financial statement, paying the bills, and cash reports for September of 2016.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
I now recommend approval of the following bids as attached.
Motion.
Second. She can have it.
We have a motion and Ms. Ruckers for a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 I recommend approval for the contracts and services as attached.
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding the contracts? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion
Aye.
passes.
No, thank you guys for letting us kind of add on. We had one of the late additions to one of the contracts there, but that is one of the programs that we kind of started with that is using some of our students to help with some of our computer service things, whether it's equipment or helping out with calls and things like that. So it's been, we kind of piloted that a little bit last year with some Hazel Green students. And I don't want to just say they're cheap labor, but they're almost experts in the field, and we learn a lot from them too. So it's good to have them be part of our team officially, and thank you guys for continuing to support that. All right, on the next item, we'll move, I'll recommend approval for the following personnel items as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding personnel? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 I don't need any executive session, but I do want to welcome Sherry and Dave, and one of the things that we talked about in there as far as some of my goals is everybody kind of get a chance to share their thoughts here. Is really looking forward to us working together as a team. It's one of the things that I'm committing to, and for we are all, as we're advocates for our students and our teachers and our schools and our communities. Just glad to have you guys on board as we get this team together and start doing some great things. So thank you guys for serving.
At the end of each meeting, we usually go around the table and see if there's anything you in particular wanted to mention about your district. So we'll do that at this time. In your 17 minutes on the board, if you have Mr. Curry, anything regarding District 1?
No, several weeks back, I was fortunate to do some instructional rounds at Viridianville Middle School and Lynn Fanning, and that was a great experience. I appreciate Ms. Berger and Mr. Manning for letting me come in and get an eye-opening experience on the process of how they go through instruction. A lot of times we don't, as a parent, I never seen it from that perspective, but to actually see there's a process and there's a way they do things, and it's quite effective, and what to look for when you walk into a classroom. So I would encourage you guys, if you haven't done instructional rounds yet, it's a really, really phenomenal thing to do. Hazelbrand High School volleyball team won the state championship, so that's great. So a lot of good things going on in District 1, so it's good. All's good.
And feedback on that, Central is having instructional rounds coming up, so if you guys want to participate in that.
Yeah, I've mentioned it to all of them.
Okay.
It's the 29th, and start around 8 o'clock, and, they're really looking forward to the board being there, so I hope y'all can make it.
And I saw today where they actually, Mr. Hughes invited all the commissioners,
Okay.
commissioners
Okay,
to
good.
come and attend. I think that's a good thing for them to kind of see what we've got going on, as we depend on them a lot and kind of build that partnership. So it'll be a good time for you guys to, if you haven't done that, to check that out.
It's really good. It's really good.
Good.
Ms. Rucker, I realize that you've been campaigning up until last week. You may just need a nap. If there was anything you wanted to say.
Well, Dave and I both went out to Sparkman today and had the dinner with the special needs group, and that was great. It was a good dinner and a good opportunity.
It was what?
The one
Enjoyed
dish.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was,
it's great.
Very good food.
Yes.
Very good. And the kids were very good. They were a lot of fun. They looked like they were having a great time, and Miss Stanley made a lot of fun for them, and so they enjoyed it a lot. And there were a lot of people there. I mean, there was a waiting line into the library to get in to eat, so we were rushed out. But it was still good.
They do it once
It's
a
a
night.
fundraiser.
They would do it once a
I
night.
think it's once every quarter.
Okay,
I
maybe.
think, yeah.
Well, on that note, would you like to continue?
That was it.
Ms. Deb?
Well, I've spent some time in the New Hope cluster this week, and, there's a lot of good things going on. Their basketball team beat Westminster the other night, the last year's state champs, and it was quite exciting. Westminster was ahead by 2 points with probably 20-something seconds left, and Omar Jolly, who is a great little point guard, he shot a 3 and missed it, but they fouled him, and he made all 3 free throws. So,
Clutch.
yeah, and everybody's yelling MVP. So it was, athletics is exciting, but there's also a lot of great things going on in the classrooms. Daniel Spears was he was the math teacher in the middle school, and he has passed his praxis to become the agriculture teacher at the high school. And I went out and they were building things and, doing that practical math, and, he was making them think about it, and it was really good. He's good with students anyway, but it was great.
It's been a reinvigoration for him.
Mhm, it's
I've
been-
never quite seen that quite in his eyes.
Yeah, he's very
Some great
excited.
things there in that construction program, Mercury Tech program.
On that note, Buckhorn Middle School, Mr. Sullivan brought to my attention, has had back-to-back WZDX Teachers of the Week, Mr. Rusty Hughes to start off, and Matt Rogers. And so want to thank them as well as Ms. McCutcheon for being a great principal, and a shout out to Mr. Perkins, because he kind of got that ball rolling over at Buckhorn Middle School, and we appreciate that. So hopefully Buckhorn will continue to do great things. Anything else?
I had a question, if anybody knows on what the newspaper is questioning the Alabama graduation rate on?
I think we just did so well. Yeah, we haven't really talked about that internally. One of the things that we found, we had a pretty sharp increase in our graduation rates, and it was, first of all, it became a focus, but also we had techniques to kind of track the kids. A lot of the folks were counted against graduation because we didn't really track them if they went to a private school or transferred out of state or whatever. So when we started kind of tracking them down, we were able to kind of count them or be able to categorize them appropriately. I know that's one of the things. Sparkman jumped, I think, 4 or 5 points in 1 year, and a lot of it was they really went through and kind of the record keeping of it. They would do that, but it's also through the efforts of our teachers and of not making it easy for kids to walk away if they have a bad day. I remember I had, probably the semester before I started that year, I had a student that had her dropout form that she had, and she was ready to drop out. I was like, I'm not signing that. You're going to have to wait a week before you do it. And I went to talk to counselors, and there was some things going on, and she ended up, I got to shake her hand as the superintendent. She graduated later in that semester, but it's kind of, we've kind of changed, really seeing the importance of having that diploma, and I think it's good kids through. So that report going through, they flagged Alabama as having improving. We shouldn't be that high, so I took it. And
That's
it's
what
a
that.
little insulting, honestly.
Right. I just wondered on what they were basing.
Well, I think they were comparing the low achievement on some ways, and yet your high graduation, and kind of a disparity between those two.
Well, and I'll just say this about the NAEP, since I'm glad you brought that up, because I've said it, and it was on the AO.com piece and of the others, and I think the VFF reported it too, but, to use that assessment, it tests 4th and 8th graders randomly one day, and they even single out 25 kids in a school, and it's a very small sample in the state of Alabama. We don't know what's on the test. It doesn't matter to the kid, it doesn't matter to the teacher, it doesn't matter to the school, it doesn't matter to the district, because we don't get those scores back. And so it's honestly never mattered to anybody until the governor just brought it up in his interviews for state superintendent. And I don't know if it's just to, try to use that as a vehicle to, to be able to say different things. But one of the things that came out with our ACT Aspire score, which is an ACT given test, a test that matters, projects their ACT, which colleges count. And our ACT Aspire growth, we had substantial growth, especially in math. And it's something for us to be proud of here. We were well above the state average, well above the national average. But the other thing that really nobody has talked about is Alabama beat the national average in grades 3 through 7. We tied in 8, and we were below the national average in grades 10 in math. And I think that's something, that's, given to over 1 million students nationwide. And so that is one of the things that, there's one test, that NAEP, that nobody has ever really emphasized. We can emphasize it. We can do. Several of our schools will be taking the NAEP this spring, but it is kind of, I don't know. It seems like the easy target to take right now is, wait a minute, your achievement's too low, your graduation's too high. What's going on?
And I would add that there seemed to be a lot of excitement in the schools where I was this week about the professional development at the BLT on the poverty. Rachel Evans was just coming out of she was doing a professional development during their planning, for part of their planning, and she was using some of the information that she got from that. So, like I said, a lot of good things going on, and I've heard a lot of good things about that.
And that's what Dave and Jerry actually got to.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hate
Part
to miss
part of it,
Yeah.
only a part of it.
Make it, so.
Anything else?
I got off my soapbox.
Well, I mean, I think we all have to get on our soapbox if, you know, you think you're doing pretty good and then, oh, why Alabama? Alabama's number 3, there's got to be something wrong. Oh.
Well, I agree, it's important to try to correct the perception, get the misperception. Is there anything else? In that case, we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yeah, first, second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, way to go, Miss Bates.
Aye.